A while back, I met somebody that I deeply, deeply, deeply liked. This was a first for me because I usually get a little bit enthusiastic about people, but then as I meet them more than one time, I kind of get disappointed. And I think that this happens for a lot of people, right? When you kind of idealize somebody and then you start meeting them more and more and more, and then you're like, yeah, not really. I remember my second boyfriend made me this compliment, which I felt it was such a deep, profound thing to tell to somebody else, which was, the more I get to know you, the more I like you. And I thought that, I had put you on a pedestal because we were friends for 1 year and we didn't really see each other much that year because he was living in Australia and I was living in Romania. So he said, I really didn't think that it's gonna go like this. I thought that I'm gonna get, slightly disappointed as I'm meeting you in real life and I'm seeing how you are and how you act around me and how you act in the world and so on. So back to this other story. I met somebody that I was deeply, deeply attracted to because he's not on Instagram. So for me, that's a really huge thing. I like people who don't have a social media profile. They're also quite dangerous, right? Like he was telling me that a lot of women didn't trust him because they would ask for his profile to check, if he's married, if he has children, all these things. And he would be like, I don't have an Instagram profile. And we would be like, okay, something is literally wrong with you. Anyhow, so I deeply, deeply liked this person, and I realized in the interaction that I have with him that I still had a lot of patterns, and I still have some of these patterns, like mechanisms of testing and not being truly open and not reaching out. For example, he would be the only one reaching out and saying, hey, let's do something. And I realized that it's just so easy for things to fizzle out between people, because usually human connections really need this lubrication, right? Like you need to lubrify a human connection through interactions, through reaching out, through caring, showing that you are actually interested in this person. If you're just staying there and waiting for them to always make the first step, it's never gonna happen, right? Eventually, no matter how wonderful you are and how much people like you, they will get tired because it feels like they are in a one-sided connection. So I learned a huge lesson from there. And now I still, I still tremble when I reach out to people because I'm like, they're gonna like me less because I seem more accessible. And this is just my pattern and my pain, because I learned in my first relationship what my Mexican friend later on called the chewing gum effect. The more you step on a man, the deeper he's gonna fall in love with you. Which again, I don't think is very healthy to have as a belief, but throughout 8 years of relationship, this is basically what I kind of draw as a conclusion. So then it was very difficult for me to deconstruct my brain that that's not really healthy. That, okay, you need to have your boundaries, you need to be certain and honest about who you are, but also you need to show care, you need to show support. And now, when I meet somebody, I always look at people and I consider them, I consider how I could fit in their lives and how they could fit in my life. So some people I could feel attracted to, but I know for sure that we are not compatible for partnership because they are pilots or because they like reggae. I know I have very discerning or because they are smokers or drinkers, I mean, it's very clear for me, I don't have to go the way, because there are certain things that I just cannot pass by, you know what I mean? You think that, what's the problem with somebody being a pilot? There is something deeper to that. I want somebody who's at home every evening, somebody who will be there for our children, not somebody that I get to see 10 times in a month. And also, to be very honest with you, I'm somebody who loves traveling. So I think that I would eventually develop a lot of resentment towards the fact that he gets to travel to all these places and send me pictures and whatnot, and I will be at home with our children and taking care of the nitty-gritty while he's enjoying his life. So there are very tangible reasons for my filters in human connections. But again, I look at people and I consider how I can fit in their lives and how they can fit in my life. And I have certain roles, right, that are open. So I'm sometimes looking for business partners. So I meet somebody and I see what skills they have. And I'm like, oh, would you be interested in running my Facebook ads? I'm working on this project. I meet somebody and I'm like, oh my God, this person could be a great dance partner. Like, we could actually train together. So I opened that discussion. Would you be open for that? Like, we have really good chemistry in dancing. Then I meet people that I'm actually attracted to, and I'm like, oh, maybe this is gonna be the person, right? And I realized that instead of thinking what they can do for me, it's very important for me to also realize how I can support them. Like, what could I contribute to their lives so that their lives around me blossom? And this is another reason why I'm very clear about the boundaries that I have in partnership, in intimate partnership. Because if I don't respect a man, it's going to be very difficult for me to stand behind him. If he's somebody who's lazy, overweight, spends their money on alcohol and drugs, and doesn't take care of things, so like, I don't really work very well with people who dissipate their money on things that I find frivolous. I think it was JFK who said, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. So I find it really beautiful to kind of turn the tables, and instead of focusing on me and my needs, to look at the person that I'm meeting and hear their dreams, hear the things that they are working on, and think, hey, how can I contribute here? And I actually love asking this question. Like, I love asking people, hey, how can I support you? Like, you are telling me about all these projects and your desires and whatnot, and I'm thinking, how could I contribute to that? How could I support you with that? I think it's really, really beautiful. And I love it also because people tend to look at me and be like, what? You just met me? And I'm like, I was starved my whole life because I lacked, mostly when I was growing up in Romania, I lacked people to whom I would share my dreams and be like, wow, amazing, go for it. What we can do, how can we do it? Most people, and I understand it makes so much sense historically and what the country has been through and where we were at and so on. Most people be like, oh, but do you think it's safe? Like, wouldn't it be better to just like take this job and like, you know, like safety first, right? And it was coming from a good space, like from a loving space. But I always starved, and I still do, for people who look at me, ask me about my dreams, and they're like, oh, let's do it. Like, how the fuck can I support you? I would love to contribute in whichever way possible. And I developed myself into this person too. I love supporting people. So if you have dreams, if you have projects, if you are putting out an offer, whatever it is, reach out and tell me, hey, this is what I do. Would you be interested in supporting me and sharing and spreading the word around it?